Good afternoon to you. I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our tropical weather outlook for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. And we're going to have to start looking at the Caribbean a little bit more closely today because our area of interest in the Atlantic has had some interesting trends over the past several days or so, especially yesterday. Quite a few shifts in the models are now causing a lot of people to sound the alarm bells for potential impacts to the Caribbean upcoming next week. I'll show you what the models show, the trends that are happening, and they're continuing to happen even as of today. And of course, we're going to go over the rest of everything else that's happening in the tropics because there is quite a bit with more activity in not just the Atlantic basin. We'll get to the Eastern Pacific in a little bit because there is stuff to talk about impacts-wise as well in the Eastern Pacific. But of course, let's first talk about the latest on our wave here in the Eastern Atlantic. As of the 8 p.m. tropical weather bulletin, and I know it's 1:07 p.m. Eastern time right now. I'm probably just minutes away from them releasing the 2 p.m. advisory, but whatever, I'll post it when it's out on Twitter. But the 1 p.m. advisory right now, or the 8 a.m. latest advisory, a tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic, a few hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions remain conducive for gradual development of this system during the next several days, and a tropical depression is likely to form late this week or this weekend. The system is expected to move westward to west-northwestward at around 15 miles per hour across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic early next week. Development chances at 30% in the next 48 hours, still low for now, but they are now becoming more confident in development chances over the next week. They are now at a high 70% chance, and I'll go over when development is expected. And again, we might need to start watching here in the northeastern Caribbean more closely with this area. But really quickly, let's go over the Eastern Pacific because there is a lot going on right now. We have two hurricanes active in the Eastern Pacific now. Hurricane Kiko, 110 miles per hour, minimum central pressure 970. This is on the verge of becoming a major hurricane. And then we have Lorena, which is a strengthening hurricane, and this might strengthen a little bit further, and a Category 2 is possible. And this is going to be a direct landfall on the Baja Peninsula towards the end of this week, and we're going to see a lot of heavy rainfall for northwestern Mexico, and some of that moisture is going to make its way into the southwestern United States. And I might have another update on Lorena later this afternoon to go over more in depth the kind of impacts, since it will bring impacts to Mexico. Gonna give you another update later this afternoon, so please make sure to stay tuned for that. And if you want to stay tuned for that, as always, I say please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. So look out for more updates on Lorena, but I'll show you the track and the watches and warnings in just a little bit. Here's Kiko, and this is definitely probably already a major hurricane now. I know the 11 a.m. advisory, it's 8 a.m. in the Eastern Pacific, came out, and this was still a Category 2, but definitely more than likely a major hurricane now. Has a pretty nice, well-rounded CDO that is trying to cool. Still have some of these convective bursts wrapping around the eye wall, but the eye is now trying to begin to clear. And it also almost kind of looks like it's taking on an annular shape too, because there's not a lot of banding. I mean, there's one band here to the south that's developing, but Kiko is definitely strengthening. Eye is clearing. Structure is becoming more organized. Again, I would say that this is probably a major hurricane by now. And I really quickly want to show you the track of Hurricane Kiko. Going to be a major hurricane again. Won't be surprised if it's already a major hurricane right now. Then going to continue on to the west and west-northwestward throughout the rest of this week. Will probably be a major hurricane for a few days, and then it's eventually going to start turning off to the northwest. And you could actually see Hawaii here off to the very far left of the graphic. We'll see if this brings any impacts to Hawaii, but if anything, that's very much down the line. So again, only sticking to tracking it right now as it continues over the next week or so. And this is the track guidance going out to about 6 to 7 days, and eventually it does begin to take a little bit more of a northwesterly track, and you do see Hawaii here, kind of in the bullseye, at least with some of these track members here. So we'll see what happens with it as we head out to the next week or so with Kiko. But at least for the next few days, while this is strengthening and will be a major hurricane, this will not impact anybody. The main focus of where we could see impacts is again going to be with Hurricane Lorena, and this is also trying to intensify right now. You see we have some of these convective bursts trying to wrap around the center. So this is trying to organize. I guess there is an eye that's already developing here within Lorena, just is not cleared out yet. But if it does, we're probably going to see more strengthening. It is currently a Category 1 right now. I think the National Hurricane Center gives us a little bit more time for this to strengthen. Maybe it'll try to strengthen more tonight into tomorrow, so maybe there's still a time that this could reach Category 2 intensity. But then it's going to begin to weaken as it heads into Mexico, probably going to make landfall as a strong tropical storm here in the central Baja Peninsula. And again, we have tropical storm watches and warnings already in effect for the entire western half of the Baja Peninsula, from the central portion all the way down to the southern portion, the southern tip of the peninsula. And the main threat I will tell you that we're going to see from Lorena is all of the gusty winds and heavy rain. I think as much as a foot of rain is expected in some areas. And again, some of this moisture will make its way into the southwestern United States and probably bring them some rain as well. But I'll go over all of that later on today when I do another update on Lorena. But keep in mind, it is a storm and it's going to impact Mexico. Again, we'll go over more in depth of it later today. Moving on to the Atlantic now and talking about what the wave that we are watching here in the Eastern Atlantic. Definitely still disorganized right now, although gaining a little bit more organization today. In fact, if I show you the ASCAT picture from today, I'm not sure if this is the correct one, but I did see an ASCAT picture. I think this might be it. But earlier today did indicate that there was a little bit more of a decent circulation or some sort of surface low that was trying to get going here. And you can see there's a little bit more wind shifts that are occurring here in the Eastern Atlantic. So this is slowly organizing. Convection is definitely bubbling up right now, although it's still very disorganized. And then, of course, throughout the rest of the Atlantic, not much else happening. We obviously have a front here that is still stalled off the East Coast, producing showers and thunderstorms for Florida, southern Florida especially today, and also portions of the Bahamas. But of course, the main focus will still remain on our wave here in the Eastern Atlantic. And on the 850 millibar vorticity map that I like to look at quite a bit, and I pretty much bring this map up every day, or almost every day. And you can see again, still not anything super organized yet. There is a little bit of a decent vorticity signature here, although definitely not super round like you have here in the Eastern Pacific. The signature, this is Hurricane Lorena. So it's definitely not that. We definitely don't have a super round, well-defined, potent vorticity signature here just yet. So obviously not a tropical system just yet, but again, this is going to develop and consolidate, especially as it moves on off here to the west-northwest over the next several days. And let's illustrate that for you on the GFS. And then I also want to talk about some trends that I've noticed on the GFS between yesterday and today, and also the European too, because there was a European model run this morning. The 60 caught quite a few people by surprise on Twitter, and they show something pretty interesting going on here in the MDR. So I'll show you all that, but let's take you throughout time here with the GFS. This doesn't get going. Again, this is going to be slow to develop for another day or two. But it seems like once we get to around Friday, so this is 48 to 54 hours out, and then here we are at 72 hours by Saturday, looks like that is when we actually start to get a well-developed system with this wave here in the eastern Atlantic, and then it tracks westward. And I will say, just to the north here, and this is roughly around 5 days out, you do see quite a stout ridge here over the central Atlantic. So we're not going to see this move very quickly off on to the northwest and then off to the north and, stay out over the central Atlantic. And that ridge holds on pretty well. And then eventually you see that we have a trough here or some sort of low pressure that is off the east coast. So that does erode away at the ridge a little bit. But again, throughout the MDR, while this is here, moving on a pretty solid westerly direction, very strong ridge. And I will say this is around 6-7 days out. This is pretty close to the islands. Now, not sure how far further south this is compared to yesterday. I'm pretty sure the GFS is not as further south on the longer range. Actually, no, I actually have a comparison from the 12Z yesterday, and this is the 12Z today versus the 12Z yesterday. And this is interesting. Again, just want to take you back here. Notice how it goes on a pretty westerly trend, and we have a very strong ridge on top of that, and I'm going to stop it at hour 144, keep it inside of 7 days. So here's the 12Z GFS today. Again, notice the very strong ridge compared to yesterday. And that is quite a sizable shift, I should note, on the GFS. And notice already, by the time we already get to early next week, you notice here on the GFS, they already have a quite potent, probably already a hurricane here. This is Tuesday morning. That's probably already a hurricane here moving westward in the MDR. And we have quite a strong ridge, and definitely from yesterday compared to today, a noticeable southerly trend. And we're going to have to continue to watch these trends here because they've been happening for several days now. I think I even brought up yesterday when there was, again, another westerly trend that occurred in the model, or southerly trend, I should say, where I think 2 days ago, the GFS was all the way over here with our tropical wave, and it showed it being in a very straight path out to sea, turned well east of Bermuda. Generally, some model runs it did something where it turned very northward and then slowly came back further west. But there's a noticeable southerly trend. That's what I want to show you. And quite a decent one, too. That's definitely at least 200 or 300 miles further to the southeast than it showed yesterday. And then, to top it all off, there was the 6E run from the Euro this morning. And the Euro has always been further south than the GFS, which is also what makes this very interesting because I believe, and I'll show you once I show you the 6E Euro, but the 0Z Euro actually had an impact on the Northern Caribbean islands. I think the 0Z Euro or the 18Z from yesterday, a direct landfall on some of the Northern Caribbean islands. And the 6E today, also very low riding. This is exactly at hour 144, and let's just compare hour 144 Euro to what they show on the GFS. Euro still further south, but it's very interesting. I will say that the GFS is shifting more closer to the Euro with showing a more southerly position, and it's also interesting on the other hand, quite the potent storm that the Euro has as a result. So what we're seeing now is we're starting to see some consensus form on the models. And these are some of the trends you need to watch, especially when you're looking at models. And this is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to enough. Obviously, a lot of people tend to pay attention to the intensity of whatever a model run shows and, the specifics of what that one model run shows. But what a lot of people tend to miss out is on the trends. And first of all, we're seeing a southerly trend again, 12Z GFS compared to 12Z today. Noticeable southerly trend. And I really quickly want to show you, let's compare 0Z Euro, see what they did. 0Z Euro almost as south as it is on this run, and the Euro had this making a direct landfall on these northern Caribbean islands here, some of these islands in the northern Antilles, on the 0Z run. And then it does something weird where it dies out afterward. I'm not really sure if that's actually going to happen. I don't really buy that as believable, but beyond that time is beyond 7 days out, so obviously you can't believe it. But the trend that I'm trying to bring up to you, quite a noticeable trend, trending stronger. And I will actually say that. Let me really quickly bring you back to what it showed. This was literally the 0Z yesterday, and this is what they showed in the MDR around early Tuesday. Weak storm, definitely not a hurricane, barely even a developed system compared to now. The 6C today and the model runs today. Quite a big difference on the Euro. So we're seeing a southerly trend where the GFS is coming closer to the Euro on track, and the Euro is starting to match the GFS on intensity. And again, stronger storm and potentially more southerly storm. Big things we need to watch for the Caribbean, especially as we head into next week, which is why I'm saying the Caribbean needs to watch very closely. Looks like we might have a brewing hurricane threat on our hands. Obviously, things could still change, but you got to watch these trends, and let's see how these trends progress into today, and let's see if they continue tomorrow, and they hold. But it is starting to get interesting nonetheless. And of course, I'll continue to keep you updated throughout the rest of the week. With that being said, though, I'm going to end it off for today's video. Although we will have another video this afternoon on Lorena, so please make sure to stay tuned for that. With that being said, I'm going to end it off. Or I think I just said that. But enjoy the rest of your day. Again, if you like what you saw, and you found this video informative, please, as I always say, every single video, but I really want you to do it, not because I only am interested in you subscribing, but I really do want you to be informed, and the best way you can do that is through subscribing, because again, I do these videos every single day, so please make sure to do that, and of course, I will be back with more later on.